You wake up before the sun. You sit in traffic. Your boss hands you a list of things to do. You do them. You drive home exhausted. You barely look at your kids before they go to bed. You set your alarm. You do it all again tomorrow. And you tell yourself this is temporary. You tell yourself it gets better. But here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. For most people, that tomorrow turns into 40 years. And after 4 decades of showing up, of grinding, of sacrificing weekends and evenings and energy you never got back, the average American retires with almost nothing. That is not an opinion. That is a fact. According to a 2023 Federal Reserve report, nearly 37% of American adults cannot cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money or selling something. And a 2022 survey by Go Banking Rates found that 55% of Americans have less than $5,000 in savings. So here's the question that actually matters. Why do some people completely flip their financial situation in just 2 years, while others keep spinning their wheels for decades, doing everything right, but going nowhere? The answer is not luck. It is not a high salary. It is not being born into the right family. It is a specific sequence of decisions, habits, and systems that most people are never taught. And I am going to walk you through every single one of them right now. Before we go any further, let me be honest with you. This is not a get-rich-quick video. There is no magic formula here. What I am about to share is built on real financial research, behavioral economics, and the actual patterns that separate people who break free from financial struggle from those who stay trapped inside it. 2 years is enough time to completely transform your financial life, but only if you stop doing the things that are quietly keeping you broke and start doing the things that actually build wealth. Let's start with something most people don't want to hear. The reason most people stay financially stuck has nothing to do with how hard they work. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American works about 800 hours a year. That is not a lazy country. People are working hard. The problem is the direction of the effort. There is a critical difference between working for income and building wealth. Income is the money that flows into your account. Wealth is what stays and grows after it arrives. Most people are completely focused on income and leaving wealth entirely out of the equation. Think about it this way. You can earn $80, 0 zizn a year, and have zero wealth if you spend $80,000 a year. And someone else can earn $45,000 and become financially independent if they are intentional about where that money goes. The number on your paycheck is not the deciding factor. The gap between what you earn and what you keep is where wealth actually lives. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Financial Planning found that the single strongest predictor of long-term financial success was not income, not education, not investment returns. It was the savings rate. People who consistently saved and invested even 15 to 20% of their income outperformed higher earners who saved nothing. Your income is just the starting point. What you do with it is everything. Now here is one of the biggest traps people fall into. Vague goals. Saying you want to save more money or be financially free someday feels good but produces nothing because there is no system attached to it. A study from Dominican University of California found that people who wrote down specific goals and tracked their progress weekly were 42% more likely to achieve them compared to people who only thought about their goals without writing anything down. The system that works is breaking your financial life into 90-day windows. 3 months is long enough to see real results, but short enough to stay focused and course correct if something is not working. At the start of every 90 days, ask yourself 3 questions. What is one specific financial number I want to hit this quarter? What is one spending habit I am cutting to make space for that goal? And what is one new income-generating action I am going to take? At the end of 90 days, you review, adjust, and level up. Over 2 years, you get 8 of these cycles. 8 chances to improve and stack progress. The numbers add up faster than you think, but before you can build anything, you need to know exactly where your money is going right now. This sounds obvious, but most people genuinely do not know. A survey by Mint found that 65% of Americans had no idea how much they spent last month. That is like trying to lose weight without ever stepping on a scale. For the next 30 days, track every single dollar that leaves your account, every coffee, every subscription, every impulse purchase. Do not try to change anything yet. Just watch. Research from the National Bureau of Economic Research shows that the average American household wastes around $18,000 per year on what economists call low utility spending, money spent on things that do not actually increase happiness or life satisfaction. That is fun $500 a month leaking out of your finances on things you barely notice. After your 30 days, sort your spending into 3 buckets: essentials, things you genuinely choose and enjoy, and unconscious spending you barely think about. Your job is to shrink that third bucket as aggressively as possible without making yourself miserable. That freed up money becomes the raw material for everything that comes next. Now, here is something the wealthy understand that most people never figure out. Money sitting in a savings account is not safe. It is actually losing value every year because of inflation. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, average annual inflation over the past 30 years has been around 2.5 to 3%. So if you have $10,000 sitting in a savings account earning 0.5% interest, you are effectively losing purchasing power every single year. This is why wealthy people do not just save money. They put money to work, and the earlier you start, the more dramatic the results because of compound interest. Here is a real number. If you invest just $200 a month starting at age 25 at an average 8% annual return, you will have roughly $702,000 by age 65. If you wait until 35 to start the exact same habit, you end up with around $298,000. Same $200 a month. Waiting just 10 years cost you over $400,000. Time in the market is more powerful than almost any other financial decision you can make. You do not need to be a finance expert to start. You do not need to pick individual stocks. For most people, the most effective starting point is a low-cost index fund that tracks the overall stock market. According to S&P Dow Jones indices, over a 15-year period, about 92% of actively managed funds underperform simple index funds. The boring simple approach almost always beats the complicated one. If your employer offers a 401k with a company match, that is your first move. Contribute enough to get the full match because that is free money. After that, consider a Roth IRA where your money grows completely tax-free. The key principle is this: start before you feel ready. Waiting for the perfect moment is how people end up at 50 with nothing invested. Here is another reality most people never face. If your only income comes from one source, your financial security is fragile. One layoff, one medical bill, one unexpected expense, and the whole thing collapses. According to a 2021 Bankrate report, about 45% of Americans have a side hustle, and those who do earn an average of $810 per month in additional income. That is nearly $10,000 a year on top of a regular salary. You do not need to start a business or call yourself an entrepreneur. You just need to identify one skill or resource you already have and find a way to monetize it. Freelance writing, graphic design, web development, delivery services, tutoring, renting a spare room. The goal in the first 90 days is not to replace your income. It is to generate an additional $300 to $1,000 per month that goes directly into investments, not lifestyle. That discipline is exactly what separates people who build wealth from people who earn more but stay broke. There is one more factor almost nobody talks about when it comes to personal finance. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Consumer Research found that people's spending habits are heavily shaped by their social circle. We mirror the financial behaviors of the people closest to us, including spending levels, attitudes toward saving, and willingness to invest. If everyone around you spends heavily on dining out and new clothes and vacations, the social pressure to keep up is enormous, even if your income does not support it. You do not need to cut off your friends, but you need to be intentional about adding people to your life who are ahead of where you want to go financially. Join communities focused on investing. Find a mentor. Read books by people who built what you are trying to build. Your environment shapes your habits, and your habits determine your financial outcome. So here is how the 2 years actually look. In the first 3 months, you build awareness and infrastructure. You complete your spending audit. You set up your budget. You open an investment account. You start one small side income source. In months 4 through 6, momentum builds. You are saving and investing consistently. Your side income is producing real money. You have cut your biggest spending leaks. In months 7 through 12, you are no longer just managing money. You are growing it. Your investments are compounding. Your second income stream is more established. Your financial decisions are sharper because your knowledge is stronger. And in year 2, the difference becomes visible. You have an emergency fund. You have growing investments. You have more than one income source. You have a system that runs without you having to stress about money every single week. None of this happened because something magical occurred. It happened because you made a series of small, consistent, deliberate decisions compounded over 730 days. That is the whole thing. There is no secret. There is no shortcut. Most people are stuck, not because they are lazy, not because they are unlucky, not because they do not earn enough. They are stuck because nobody ever gave them a clear system to follow. Schools do not teach this. Most parents did not know it either. But you have the roadmap now. 2 years from now, you can be in the exact same financial position you are in today, or you can be somewhere completely different. The only question is what you do with this starting right now. Do not wait for a better time. There is not one. Start with one step. Track your spending for 30 days. Open that investment account. Earn your first $100 from a side source. Every small action you take builds the foundation for everything that comes after. You have the information. The only thing left is the decision to use it.